first cello that it got completely totaled.
Oh.
And so it was about $8,000 that they just gave me to replace it. And yeah, that was on an airline that broke my case and my cello.
Oh, wow. It seems like I remember you telling that story.
Yeah. They cracked everything, and the cello had cracks front and back, and it was totaled. So
had they just stacked luggage on top of it, or they just?
I don't know.
Oh.
They I don't know what they did to it, but it had to be pretty bad. So.
And this was the English cello?
No, this was a German one I had in undergrad.
Oh, okay.
This was before the English one, the one that died before the English one was purchased. Yeah, the reason why I had to buy it. Yeah, it was an old German cello, really nice. Didn't have a label, so it wasn't extremely expensive, but it was still it was a nice cello and
still considered a fine instrument.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice instrument. Yeah. I still kind of wish I had it still, but anyway, that was another story of that one.
So when how closely do you think it is? How important do you think it is that musicians work discussing their instrument with luthiers? I mean, I've talked to several, and some I've talked to several luthiers, and some are just like, "Hey, it's just a box with strings, and they can make it sound good." But I've also talked to some luthiers who, they really want the input from the musician. What's your take on that?
Man, I mean, I would love, to find a local luthier with whom I had a relationship, where they knew my cello almost as well as I did. And I think ideally, I know a lot of professionals who live maybe in more urban or metropolitan areas that have that relationship with one person they take to, and that person knows their instrument and knows what to do to set it up, how to move the bridge, how to move the sound post. I mean, most professional players would love or have a relationship like that with one particular luthier. Mm-hmm. So definitely that's kind of a must. I know people that even drive long distances to have work done on their instrument. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say it's very important, and definitely someone you can trust to make big repairs if they are needed, high quality repairs. This is it's like someone's child. It's it's an extension of your musical self, and so you want the best care for it as possible. So I'm always extremely in awe and admiration of really talented luthiers that can really do good work.
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing this YouTube channel and exploring it, but mostly on student instruments or old instruments that really don't have much of a life to them already. Some of these instruments you'll take apart and you can see that the inside of the top is just kind of poorly carved or rough carved. So yeah. I figure, if anything, what I'm doing is at least an improvement. But if it was one of my nicer violins or my viola, I would have a hard time working on it myself at this point. At least in my study, but it's been really eye-opening for me, and I definitely appreciate what luthiers actually have to do. But I was talking to one person, and they were talking about the need for luthiers in our community. Do you feel that the Central Kentucky area, I mean, how much of a vibe do you get that the Central Kentucky area really needs makers and builders and really good luthiers in our area? How many do you think it could sustain?
That's a good question. Well, I'm really grateful that Old Town is set up here, and has the shop that they do. I'm glad they're expanding that. We prior to them, there wasn't much of anything that I knew of around here in Lexington or the whole Central Kentucky area, really. And it's strangely enough, even Louisville doesn't really have, as far as I know, a really big shop. They have some people. Joe Wetzel's great up there, and some other people. But
he's in Indiana, right? Joe is.
Yeah, he's north of the border. Okay. He's not in Kentucky, but a lot of people take their stuff to him. But I'm really grateful that Old Town's here, and they have Ben Mason. Isn't it Ben Mason?
Oh yeah, Ben. He's
yeah, we're so fortunate to have someone like him who's making instruments here now. But yeah, I mean, I've always thought with 2 universities with string programs and all the high schools in Lexington and the areas about like Versailles and Winchester and all that, it seems like there will be enough business with all the students and teachers, to support that. Again, I'm not too sure on the business end of it, but I know there's the amount of players. So yeah, we already Ben's here, but to have someone who really is an expert on repairs, I don't know if Ben does that or not yet, but
yeah, Ben's been doing some of the repairs, but I think he would probably openly tell you that his passion is the creating, the crafting of instruments, and he's been doing some amazing work. He really has.
Yeah, well, we've actually had 2 students at EKU purchase his instruments in the last year, and they're great.
Ben has been really helpful about, hey, when you do this, make sure you come over and talk to me, and I'll give you tips and advice. So he's really all about the creating.
No, that's great, and I know that the apprentice, that's one of the few things left that really an apprenticeship is kind of needed to kind of have that personal feedback on your work and all that stuff. So I think it's great that he's here. We're so glad. I hope he stays forever.
Yeah.
But I think to have someone who's devoted to repairs, and to like high level repairs, that would be nice, and it would certainly. I think they would. I feel like anyway they would get support from they would get business from the people. So it's something I think it would be nice to not have to drive hours to get that done. But yeah, I mean, I think there's room for it. I would definitely say there's room for that. Again, I'm grateful Old Town's there with a full service shop, and that's awesome. I really hope they continue to grow and to succeed there.
Yeah.
But adding Ben there is awesome. So yeah, good. But yeah, I think repairs, I know that's kind of a specific art, and not everybody wants to tackle those really high level repairs, because it's kind of, it would be scary to take someone's instrument and take it apart. I can imagine you'd have to have some confidence in what you're doing to be able to do that.
The waters.
And the STLES and this makes a very best chocolate. And the STLES and this makes a very best chocolate.